What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Modderno. He's Jahadi White. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all that good stuff for everybody. We appreciate you all for tuning in. This is the 251st episode of the Believe in Wizards podcast. So thanks to everybody who's listened at some point along the way. If you're listening right now, we appreciate that too. And I don't know, I'm just in a good mood for some reason, despite the team being 5-25, Jahadi. So how are you? How was your holiday? How are things?
Oh, the holidays were good, Matt, man. And you know what? I appreciate you sending me a holiday shout out in the mail. You
Thanks,
and your
man.
beautiful wife sent me a card and your two nice felines.
Had to have cats on there. Also
Yeah, man.
my wife's decision, but the furry
Put
kids.
me in the Christmas spirit. You get older, man. Christmas sometimes don't feel like it used to. It's the spirit is different now. You gotta create it more, and family gets, starts traveling and being everywhere. I have one son over here, and so it's the small gestures that mean a lot.
I'm glad, man. Yeah, I got to imagine with the kids getting older, it's a little tougher situation and changes things up a little bit at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Christmas now is about smiles on everybody else's faces and making sure you put them there. And if you see them, then you did your job. They had a Merry Christmas. Then that's what's about. You have a Merry Christmas if they have it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I was the pain in the ass of all of my relatives and family this year because I didn't want anything. I just asked for donations to a couple charities I like. So they were kind of bummed that they didn't get to have stuff that I opened of theirs on Christmas. But hey, I don't know. When you're old enough, you can buy all your own shit. You never have things you need at this point either. So it's just
yeah, but it's always nice to unwrap something.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Have
mean,
a couple little things.
Yeah, the gesture. It's just I get to unwrap something.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We got plenty of good stuff to talk about. Again, I mentioned for this team being 5-25, I'm like in a weirdly good place about it. So I think this will be a more positive holiday themed episode for everybody here. We'll see how that goes. As always, we're brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades, hard every flavor you can think of. Are all delicious. And BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, matchup reports for baseball, boxing, UFC, golf, tennis, NBA, NFL, and everything you can think of. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place all your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games, available to play right from your phone. Head to the website, and the mobile device situation is always good. You can use the app; it's pretty friendly, and you can use Believe BLEAV for 50% off your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, Jahadi, the first thing I want to talk to you about here a little bit is just I think collectively as a fan base, the Wizards fans we're getting a little concerned here about Bilal Coulibaly's touches and usage and things like that. It seems to be trending down the last couple weeks. In that Orlando game on Tuesday, he took one shot, and I want to say it was like a putback, that he got the rebound and went back up on his own. And I think people are worried, like can he continue to develop at the rate you want him to? Can you prioritize his development if there just isn't some amount of like force feeding some touches for him? Like, will he maximize his development, I guess, if they're not trying to actively get him involved?
Yeah, but it'd be in practice. I mean, when you're on a team with a record like this right now, and you have certain players, when you're on a team with a record like this right now, he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Bilal Coulibaly is a rookie. So right now, the writing is on the wall pretty much, even for the players, and they understand it. So now it's about your job security. So when it's about your job security, it's about making sure you get your averages. You get your numbers. So the person who came in late, or the person who's now the youngest guy and the rookie, he's going to kind of be forgotten about as far as winning. I mean, as far as them trying to make sure he gets his touches, or the system making sure he gets his touches. Because right now, it's about your job security. It's about when it's contract negotiation time or when the season is over with, your numbers need to look a specific way as a player. And it happens. And so, unfortunately, he's falling into that trap of his team, making sure they, do what they need to individually. The people on the team, the players on the team, do what they need to do, because the writing's on the wall pretty much with how the season is going.
I get that from his teammates' perspective, especially the veteran guys that are trying to lock up deals for next year. You've got a couple guys on expirings or that might want to get featured and get traded. But if you were the actual coaching staff of this team or the front office kind of dictating to the coaching staff what you want to see, I would think you'd put more emphasis on Greg Finberg for Bolts Forever asked Wes Unseld about this and why he's not getting more involved in the offense. And Wes said, it's just the flow of the game. We don't run a ton of action for Bilal to begin with. I'm just not worried about his offense. I don't like that as an answer. I mean, I expected it from like kind of the old school, if like we're not featuring him, but you should be featuring him to some extent, at least after the trade deadline. I'd hope that there's some amount of emphasis put on giving him the ball in situations where you can see what he can actually do. I think that's at some point that has to be a priority for this team.
It's too late. It's too late to feature him now if you didn't feature him before.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah, explain that one to me. Okay.
Say what?
Explain that one to me, because I would think post-trade deadline, when you lose a lot of these vets, that would be the time to kind of reestablish the pecking order of things.
Yeah, you can then.
Mm-hmm.
You can then if you lose some vets, right? We give some, but what he's been doing right now without being featured. He's being a player, right? And just so happened right now, we were still we're playing team ball. It's the beginning of the season. He's a new entity. He's creating. He's creating things for himself, right? We're playing more systematic. Mm-hmm. Now the writing's on the wall, and you're pretty much just not trying to be Detroit.
Yeah.
People's going, it's becoming a more selfish game now. It's not about so much winning as it should be. So now guys are taking more and more shots, right? They're trying to make sure that stats are there. And so the guys who really wasn't created in the system, or the point guard is going for his first and second options, or maybe his third option. He's not getting past the third option right now, right? So which means he's not even getting those scraps that he used to get. Right, he was pretty much playing very well and doing good, even off scraps that he was getting. Well, those scraps are not there anymore.
It's harder to come by now.
The entire buffet is getting taken up by the top three. Right, so
yeah, you've seen Tyus Jones become more offense oriented or more offense oriented, and
right.
So I guess I get that that's the reality of the situation. Is that bad for him? Will this hold him back long term if they aren't featuring him in some way or running some action for him? Like next year, if you want him to be more involved, is he going to be behind the 8 ball because he didn't get any of those kind of looks this year?
You have to make sure that in practice, he's still a major part of the team. You still have to make sure in practice that he's still getting those touches. Right, you have to make sure in practice that the system is still running. Because in the game time right now, the player's going to take over the game time. Right, it's too late for a coach to say, "Hey, we have to include him in these touches," when you haven't said it before. And now, with the way the record is, how much are they going to listen to? How much
they listening to Wes anyway?
Yeah, right now, because. What's going to be more important to them right now? Listen to Wes or making sure I sustain my spot in this league?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And so if I'm a guy say, hey, I got to make sure I sustain my spot in this league, and you telling me to pass to the rookie, he got time, right?
Yeah, if I'm not going to be his teammate after January, he can fuck off, right?
Everything may blow up. So until then, wherever I'm going, I got to have my numbers right.
Yep.
And it's a terrible way to look at it. It's a terrible way to be, but it's the NBA.
Is that even more reason for this team to be active at the trade deadline and move on from some of these vets, especially the ones that don't have long-term deals? Like if I care more about what Coulibaly does long-term, and I think I'm not saying Landry Shamet specifically, but like a Landry Shamet who isn't going to be here long-term anyway, I'm probably more incentivized to move him then if I think that's a barrier to getting Coulibaly organic touches.
Yeah, you have to blow this team up. It's not.
Right.
It's
Yeah. It's not much
it's
worth saving at
obvious.
this point.
It's no secret. This team has to. You have to blow it up. The core, the cornerstones are not working. The cornerstones of the team are not working. The nucleus of the team it's a lot of pieces that just don't fit right now. You have to have somebody here who gets pissed off about losing.
Yeah.
And fight to win and pass that along through his teammates. It's not the energy guy who's spitting piss and fire in the locker room. It's so many like pieces, like nuances that aren't there that you have to have on a team to be able to make that team. Because I mean, in the NBA, it's all talent. Hell, Detroit got talent.
Yeah. Just do they all fit together? Or do they have the right
do they fit together, or
intangibles?
is it one person that's willing to fight for it, and is it one person that has such a magnetic will to win that he can like infect his entire team with that?
Sure.
Right. So if you don't have that, I don't see that person.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I just don't. So it starts from the leader of the team. If he's passive, then that's or it has to be somebody. It has to be, you got to have a Pat Beverly type, or it's somebody that just got to like, enough. I'm willing to throw chairs at your face.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed.
Right.
We should all be embarrassed. That
Right.
kind of guy. Yeah.
When the team when the game is over with, I don't see anybody disappointed.
It's a lot of selfies, a lot of like tweets about highlight videos. My friend of the show, Osman Beg, always mentions how certain players are tweeting about their highlights and things after a 25-point
nobody
blowout.
willing to knock over the Gatorade cooler to save a loose ball.
Yeah.
So right now it's just about, and the crazy thing is we are hanging with all the teams in the first quarter. I mean, in the first half.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They've been pretty competitive in most of these games. A couple blowouts here and there, but yeah.
No, it's blowouts. It's blowouts here and there, but it's not that we can't be in the game. You know what I'm saying? It's the talent is there, and the talent is there in the starting five. It's just
at least to hang. Yeah, I'm with you. Like there's no excuse for them to just be, totally like just embarrassed from start to finish. Like I'm with you. Like
to have won 5 games.
They had a thing the other week or a couple weeks ago where a college team, I want to say it was North Dakota State, played a D3 team and they won like 100-14 or something. And my reaction to that was there would have been no final score of that game if I were involved, because I would have just started throwing punches at somebody like before you beat me by 95. Like you need that in one of these games. Before we're going to lose by 30, I'm going to Draymond clothesline somebody or something. Like you're going to feel it at least.
I'll be the first person to go get Draymond. I really would replace Poole with Draymond.
Yep.
For real. Because that's the first type of attitude you need in the locker room. As long as you can sustain it. As long as you can make kind of reel it in, box it in. And then you need a tough coach.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's just the temperament for this particular group. You need an axe
kicker. Now you don't really. So you got a tough coach. If you have a Rondo or a coach at Houston,
Ime Udoka type. Yeah.
Udoka and the Draymond on that team.
Yep.
2 tough personalities. If they sync together, and then now we're leading this team together, right? You don't really need too many all-stars. You just need hard-nosed players. They all professionals.
I think it'd be more of the stuff you want to see from them, and there'd be more accountability. At least that's what you want with the young guys is good habits and accountability. And there seems to be none of that right now. And you've got just kind of lukewarm reactions from Wes Unseld Jr. Again, friend of the show, Greg Finberg, asked Wes Unseld about the morale in the locker room right now, having lost 25 of their first 30 games. And he said, I would assume frustration, disappointment, and kind of rambled for a little bit and then said, I don't think it's an issue of buy-in. It's just more the in the moment frustration when things don't go well. But overall, he seemed very flat and unreactive. If it were me, it would have been like, I hope these guys are pissed. I'm pissed. This is unacceptable. And I'm going to smash a whiteboard. Like, it needs to be the Pat Riley clip from Winning Time.
But they already understand who Wes is.
Yeah,
they already
exactly.
understand who Wes is.
Yep.
Right. But imagine if you have somebody you have to answer to.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine not only the coach you have to answer to. Imagine if it's a teammate, you got to be, oh man, you got to answer to this guy. He gonna be pissed off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. If you've got a chill, laid back guy like Wes, though, and he finally loses his shit, I would think that would still send a message. Like, I mean, at some point, there's got to be something happening. I don't know that it's not happening in the locker room. Maybe it's not who he is. Maybe it would come off as fake,
it may send a message at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on, it's a difference. I think every coach got to have a little bit of crazy in them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right? Now, you can be a pissed off person. We all seen a pissed off person.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be effective. Oh, he got mad.
Yeah.
But you're not going to challenge too much crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true. Yeah, a lot of the good old school coaches had that. Like, I don't want to go with this guy.
To me, okay, get pissed off. All right, yeah, he right, but I don't know how much. But challenge the crazy. This motherfucker crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different one.
Yep.
All right, look, we don't want to keep dealing with that tonight because now, do you want to compete with crazy? Let's see who crazier.
Yep.
But hate to say it, but that's how things are. Like, not only people willing to challenge Pat. If Pat Riley just pissed off,
mm-hmm.
he wouldn't be as successful.
Right.
If Pop was just a pissed off person, he wouldn't be as successful.
Yeah, you don't want to step to that guy though. Like, I
don't want to challenge the crazy.
I don't know what he's going to do. Yeah.
Right. Now you got crazy. Now you have crazy on the coaching staff, and you got a crazy that's a leader who's passionate about winning and passionate about the team getting itself together. Right. Mm-hmm. Both layers.
Yeah. And
if it can be, if it can be contained and organized to the point it just don't blow up, now you got something. Now you work. Now you got something you can build with.
You had last year members of the Houston Rockets taking selfies with LeBron after losing by 15 points because, I loved you growing up and my dad played against you and all this like cute stuff. And this year you've got Ime Udoka being like, hey, don't be a little bitch, LeBron. And like, if you see that as a play, you're like,
right.
Okay. And now there's other baggage that comes with Udoka. I'm not suggesting him specifically, but that kind of temperament would be something that would appeal to me of like, yeah, the losing is over and it's unacceptable here.
That's a coach with a Kobe mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. You need a little crazy. I love that. I think that's the new tagline for this year's team is I have the MFer theory. Like I've thought about it more of the roster, but you need the right balance of MFers on the team. There's got to be at least one guy that like every other team in the league is like, I don't want to mess with that guy. And every teammate in the locker room is like, I don't want to mess with that guy. If you have too many of them though, it turns into a total shit show. And
you need the right balance. Guy also, you need that guy, but you also need that guy that he's going to rally for his team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
That you still want to rock with him at the end of the day.
Because you're going to ride. He's going to ride with you. You're riding with him.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing with Draymond is you don't swing on young guys.
Yeah, he's gone a little too far.
Like that's the thing, right? But
a couple years ago, Draymond, like that's
Yeah,
okay. Now
right. A
we've
couple years
gone
ago,
a little too
Draymond, you
much.
would want that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I okay, so loving the commentary in the chat. I think everybody's on the same page with us here, most part. Dasan asked, "Am I crazy to think this team would be in a better position with Scott Brooks than Wes? Feels like we'd have 7 to 10 wins at least." Maybe I think, but to be a 5'9" or 5'10", whatever he is, white guy to play that long in the league, to be not that athletic, Scott Brooks had a little crazy in him. Like, I mean, and he would challenge some stuff, and he'd get pissed off at reporters' questions. And Wes, great assistant. You need an even keel stabilizer kind of guy, but it's just kind of a flat personality, I think, a lot of times. And that may work with certain groups. It doesn't seem to be working with this group. And I still don't think there's any chance they make a change here midseason. Ted is paid for, them to lose. He's not going to pay to promote David Vanterpool or somebody to lose more. Like, I think we're going to ride the course here for the season. I think next year you'll definitely see a move. That would be my guess.
Yeah. I think next year you see a move, but I think next year definitely be a move with coaching.
Yeah.
But this year, I think they have to blow this thing up before the season's out. You got to get rid of. You got to free up some cash.
Thinking about what we're talking about here and just like showing the effort, okay, if you're not super talented and you don't execute on the offensive end, like that could be just personnel based. I think on the defensive end is where you really see like how bought in guys actually are and how much they're actually like showing pride in what they're doing. And again, mentioned before, a friend of the show, Oz, tweeted out, we are allowing a league high 126.6 points per game, but in their last 10, it's up to 129.5 points per game. So it's actually getting worse. They're an awful defensive team going in the wrong direction. And to me, that would be a big red flag. If I'm the front office, I would say like, okay, this is now trending in a direction that's dangerous for us. Because at what point do these guys take this as like, well, it's okay?
They took it like that when everybody started going for self. When they realized, hey, it is what it is. I got to get my listen. When guys start getting more selfish,
mm-hmm.
and they want to get their stats, make sure they get their stat line right.
Yep.
They're going to make sure they're on the floor. For
mm-hmm.
me to make sure I'm on the floor, I can't get fouls. So what happens? The defense lags.
Mm-hmm.
You just, let me go ahead and give you,
Matador.
Let me part the Red Sea.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Other than Gafford is making sure he's getting more blocks than he ever got, but he's picking and choosing the blocks too. Yep. Right. But I can't be upset with Gafford right now. I'm really impressed by how he's improved. I think he's the most improved player on the team.
I have got no complaints about Daniel Gafford. The first 7 games of the season, he was about 7 points and 6 rebounds. He's up to like 11.5 and almost 8.
Hey, man, that sprained ankle, I don't know what happened.
Lit a fire.
He sprained an ankle and epiphany happened. So, the sun, like something shine from the sky. Okay. All right, cool. Let me go back out there and really make something happen, because
he's taking pride in what he's doing. He's not the most talented guy, and he gets beat sometimes. There are people better than him, and there's still stuff I'd like to see him do better, but I don't think his is a lack of effort, at least. And that's all I'm looking for at this point.
No, it's not a lack of effort, not a lack of skill. You didn't know how skilled he was.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown some flashes this year.
Look at his efficiency and all the touches he's getting. Not just the dunks that he's jumping out of the sky and grabbing. He's shooting jump shots, finishing at the rim, finishing through traffic, finishing with in aggressive moments with a lot of guys piled on him in the paint. Mm-hmm. Man, you know what? I mean, and I was his biggest critic, but like I said, because you can just see the potential. Mm-hmm. But now, he's making his money.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, that's one guy. He's earning the contract.
If he keep this up, he can demand something.
He's top 3 in the league in field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, and true shooting percentage. And to your point, it's more than just dunks. I mean, he's converting on the other stuff too. I still don't
And
love a ton of post ups, but
he's starting to attack the offensive boards more.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit like, so now not only is he growing in these other areas, now he said, okay, now finally we need somebody because we're not getting any second chance opportunities.
Right.
So he's starting trying to be that guy too. So it's the difference is with him, you can see like, okay, I'm growing to be a better player for me and myself, and it's going to help the team. Right. So it's different. You know what's really crazy? You know, he's averaging the same amount of points right now as Denny for the season.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, right around 12-ish, right? Something like that.
Yeah, 11.1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow, right?
Yeah, it's great. And again, this is another dude they're not running a ton of plays for. You get 1 or 2 post ups a game where they feature it, and that's fine.
Well,
I want you
he's
to
always getting
establish the
that
big
first
guy.
play of the game with the oop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that one. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, and it's good. I mean, like I've seen a couple. Should we trade Gafford now that the value is highest? Like,
I would.
please. It's just.
I would have first this beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Last year, I'd trade his ass. I would have got him out of there. This year,
he was kind of fool's gold a little bit last year.
Fool's gold last year. Yeah. Right. This year, his confidence. He's playing like the player he knows he is.
Right. Not a perfect player, but you would be totally sunk without him. At least. I mean, I know everyone will say, "Well, we've only won 5 games, so how good is he going to be?" But like, it could get worse, and we don't want it to get worse. And I think he's still young enough that that's a guy that could factor into your.
I don't think he's at his ceiling. I don't think he'd grow to his ceiling, but he's not playing under his potential right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all you want. I think that the shooting has dropped off a little bit here for Denny. I think some of the confidence has dropped off a little bit here for Denny. But again, I still think he's trying to do the right things, and
but his confidence just wavers too much. This is every year.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to be able to survive a tough spell. Yeah.
Yeah, man, such a talented player. His confidence is too fragile to be in. Like, I don't know how do you fix that. Yeah,
I mean, you need. It's got to come from within here, right? Like, no matter how much the coaches or your teammates prop you up or tell you they want you to shoot it, if you're not. If you don't have that to be able to shake that off, like honestly, so what I wanted to do here to close out the show or the second half of the show is just New Year's resolutions for each guy, and I have them in alphabetical order by last name. So Denny is up first, and for him, my resolution is just channel Jordan Poole to some extent. Like, just you need a certain amount of irrational confidence, and Denny has almost no confidence despite being a pretty talented player who's worked on his game, but. I would just love him to see, like, you know what? I missed 3 in a row. I'm not going to be afraid to take the 4th one. Like, they need that from him. If it's a good open look, take it regardless of what the previous result was. And I think that would be to his benefit too.
Yeah, true. But I didn't even think his confidence will ever be an issue this year, the way things were going for him.
Yeah, I agree.
And he did. I don't think he had a rational confidence, but.
No, I would like that he did. I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I liked where he was.
The sweet spot.
Right? He wasn't scared of anything. He was taking what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And going at people too.
Right. Yeah, and going at people. And I don't know if a rational confidence crossing that line, but I think he's skilled enough and understands enough and professional enough that rational confidence won't affect him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yo, guy. Poole.
Yeah, that's we've gone the other way with that.
He just like irrational confidence is killing him because like he's in fantasy land.
He's never a guy you're ever gonna have to worry about. Is he confident enough to take a shot? And it's way far the other way.
He's not a starter in the league.
He and Denny are the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, Denny is so focused on wanting to make the right play that sometimes
Denny's sound.
Yeah, you can be so unselfish. You're selfish sometimes, and I think he does that. Poole is so selfish. He's really selfish, and it's just the shots have been a little better. The shot quality overall been a little better. He's making a few of them more now, but
No, he taking wild shots. He's just making more of them,
A
right?
few of
I
them
mean,
are going on.
that shot always be by the logo, like,
Yeah.
cool, you made it.
Yeah.
But is that a great shot?
That's what
That's
we
not a
talked
high
about
percentage
before.
shot no matter what.
He said these are the shots I'm making in practice, so I know I should make them. And it's like, well, doesn't mean you shouldn't
Why in
be
the hell
taking
you
them in
shooting in
practice either.
practice?
Right, exactly.
It shouldn't be a shot you're shooting for real.
Yeah.
If we're taking that shot with 20, 15 minutes left on the clock, that's a terrible shot.
Yeah. 4 seconds on the clock. Take whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let's jump to pool then. I had watch endless film of guys who take good shots and try to do that at least more percentage of the time. What would your resolution be for Jordan Poole this year?
To go find some rationality.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's too irrational. Right? And learn how, and go talk to somebody and learn how to be a professional.
You see Vanderpool working with him on the sidelines in practice. Like, that's a guy that hung around in the league for a while because he was a pro, right? I mean, like that.
Right.
Can it come from a coach or does it have to be a teammate?
It can come from Vanderpool because he's not the head coach, and it's all about. And I know Dave. Dave is going to come from a good place. He can trust where it's coming from, and it's going to come to him like a mentor and a coach, but also as a elderly type of, not going back to the other coaching staff and be like, even though it's possibly, but it's going to come back somebody you can trust. It's going to come feel like it's come from a trusting source. But
Yeah,
I don't see it transpiring. I don't see it.
and it's not working for him. Yeah,
No,
it's not taking hold here.
no.
Again, maybe like small. There, I'll see a game where I'm like, okay, all right, something's clicked here. I feel better, and then the next game, it's another like, what are you doing? Like,
I was listening to Gilbert's show, Gil's Arena, the other day, and he was like, "Look, man, they're gonna get rid of him, and he's gonna be a 6-man. He'd be a great 6-man, but he's not a starter for any team in the NBA."
I agree with that. I mean, not with this current mindset. When you can't rely on him because of like the lack of consistency. He can't be a featured option if you're gonna just be a chucker 1 out of every 3 games or 2 out of every 3 games or whatever. But you can come in, and if you got a hot hand one night, a team can win with you coming off the bench, but not
Right.
blowing up the whole offense to do
But
it.
you can bring energy off the bench. You need scoring. So if we're taking out major scorers. Just how Golden State use them, which works perfect.
Yeah.
But you can't be the guy starting the game and just killing the offense.
It's hard to have a player on the court that much of a game too when they don't provide anything else other than inefficient scoring. If you don't create for others, you don't defend anybody. It's now 20% of your team just isn't giving you anything else. And to play that person 35 minutes and expect to win, it's just a big hole. And I know
hopefully he figures it out.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's 24 years old. Like, there's far from over for him. I hope he figures it out sooner rather than later, though.
Yeah.
And at the very least, recoup some value, and maybe you can send him back to a team. The problem is, if other teams watch him and think what we just said about his ideal role,
they're not going to.
You're not going to trade for a $30 million a year guy if you think that's a ceiling. Now, maybe in the last year or two of his deal, the salary cap's gone up. You're not stuck with the long-term years. Somebody can be convinced we need the microwave scorer. It's worth it. But that means he's here for another year and a half. And another year and a half of this, I don't think is sustainable.
It's not. You can't. Not to where we want to grow to. Right? It's not.
What's your New Year's resolution for Bilal Coulibaly?
Do exactly what you're doing, but double it.
Okay.
right? The studying you're doing, the film you're studying, the learning you're doing, double it. Get more consistent shots up. Now, how many shots up you get in a day, double that, right? The drives you learning to get downhill, double learning how to get downhill even with more traffic, get quicker first step. How zoned in and focused you're all on defense as far as seeing how things move early, to be in the spaces early and could be able to cut off and be able to block shots. Intensify that, right?
Yeah.
And then start working on all things that you can expand your game even more, like the things that's not a part of your game at the moment. But he has the biggest upside on this team.
Yeah,
no doubt. He's not a guy that you even consider touching.
Yep, he's the one untouchable piece.
Yeah, I think he is the one untouchable piece, but it's hard to find a big.
I wouldn't be in a hurry to move either Gafford or Denny because they have very good, solid contracts for the production they provide.
Those are two most untouchable.
Yeah, but to me, I'd still move them if
Denny Denny is a glue guy.
Yeah, I agree.
So to me, Denny I wouldn't be so quick to move Denny or package him up with it because he's a guy who can fit in any system, and he's going to be like probably the best defender other than Bilal that we have, right? Confidence waivers goes back and forth, right? But yeah.
I think that confidence stuff limits Denny's high-end upside. I think he's still a valuable player on a team-friendly deal. Him and Gafford are two I would try to keep. They're young enough. They can also keep improving, but they wouldn't be untouchable to me. Bilal is the one guy at this point in his career where there's like no offer you could make me where I'd be willing to consider throwing him in the deal at this point. Maybe not no offer, but no realistic offer that's going to come otherwise. I'm with you. I had just be more assertive for him. Like I think I'd love to see a play where he grabs it off the rim and attacks himself and goes coast to coast with it.
I like to have him just take it down, a lot more. Just like Kuzma. I just say study Kuzma. Keep studying more and more.
I think so too. The good stuff. Some of the shot selection stuff there too. A little tough. Johnny Davis. Just get your mind right. Build your confidence some way, somehow. I don't know how you do that. I don't know what that is, but that situation is tough, and I've been a staunch defender of just give him time. He'll figure it out. This year is another kind of year lost to injuries and things like that, and just they haven't even been able to get him in the G League to build him up because he just can't stay healthy long enough, and then just snake bitten. I feel kind of bad for the guy.
Yeah, I just said stay the course, man. Sometimes that it's that window of just craziness that sometimes you feel like it's not made for me, and don't lose faith. Stay the course. You're not the first guy who went through this, and you've seen a lot of guys who went through this process and came out on the other end. Now they're names in the NBA. So just understand that it's possible.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually great perspective for him, and hopefully advice he's getting from other people too. It's just weather the storm here a little bit. Daniel Gafford, just continue to take on the challenge nightly the way he's been trying to do. I just be consistent. That's what I want to see from him, is continue to be what we've seen the last 15 games or so ish.
Don't be content. Don't be happy with right now. Don't be happy with your growth, right? Because don't get comfortable with your growth.
Sure.
Saying, all right, well, I'm good enough. Nah. If you can get to this point now, quickly this year, imagine where you can get to if you start looking at yourself and say, hey, I want to grow here, and I want to become right, and not only give yourself that challenge, fight for that challenge. Like don't be happy where you are. Don't be content with where you are. Don't be comfortable. Don't say, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good call. Danilo Gallinari, demand to be on a championship contender. That's what I want from you, Danilo. That's my resolution for you. Demand to be somewhere other than Washington, just because I can't watch a dude slower than me try to play NBA defense anymore. It's driving me nuts. Like, just any of the other young guys would be better served playing at this point. The offense is nice, but I just be a mentor, do all that other stuff. I just can't watch it anymore. Jai, it's tough, man.
I mean, hopefully he can sustain the lead a little bit longer. But if not, know what you gave the game.
Yeah.
Like, know what you gave the game. You know, you've given the game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And be happy with that.
I do think there are some teams he could still help. It's just this team doesn't make sense for it. I mean,
hopefully he can be in the league a little longer.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're right.
It's too slow motion. I mean, the league doesn't move at that pace.
Yeah,
it's true.
He could probably go eat up some EuroLeague competition still.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still super skilled and smart. That's huge too. Anthony Gill, just keep working hard, push guys in practice, all that kind of stuff. Everybody says you're the best veteran leader on the team. Just keep being that. That's all I want from the guy.
Know that they understand that they recognize your leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Not only your teammates, but the coaching staff, the organization, the places you've been before.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just keep being the natural leader that you are. And it could blossom into sticking around the league more, even if you're not on the court.
Yep.
So start making sure, people understand that now.
That's really smart. I think he's like the prime. If this guy is a top assistant on a team 3, 4, or 5 years from now, like, we shouldn't be shocked kind of guy. I think like that makes a lot of sense. Tyus Jones, just be this Tyus offensively. Just keep pushing it and score and be aggressive and build your numbers. Don't do so selfishly if you can help it, but do that at least until the trade deadline. I don't think Tyus is long for this team personally, so I want him to be max value. So whatever that looks like.
I'm not unimpressed with Tyus.
No, I agree.
Right. So
the offense has been great.
I didn't know he was a scorer like he is. I mean, he can score. Yeah, he's a offensive weapon. He's been lately an offensive weapon for us. Mm-hmm. So don't lose the fact that teams need point guards.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes a point guard who scores too much, or in the end of the day, you have to be the general of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And 10 to 12 isn't bad. You can add, if you take 12 shots a game, may not be too bad, right? For
20,
a point.
20 is a little tough.
But 20, after you take 20, you're not a point. You're right. 2.
Yep.
So just understand the difference of who you are, because you're too short to be a 2.
Right.
So when you get traded to another team, they're not going to look at your scoring.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to look at, like, your assist, your turnover ratio, right? So just don't lose the fact that in the end of the day, you're a point in the NBA.
Yeah, especially if he wants to continue to be a starter wherever he ends up next too.
Right.
They're not bringing you in to be the featured offensive piece. Now, maybe if you're okay going back to the bench, you can have a little more of that balance, but I'm with you. Corey Kispert, just don't forget about the D part of 3 and D. I'm not trying to pick on him because there are a lot of other guys on this team not playing defense, but for the shooting specialist archetype, Corey is a better lateral mover and things like that than he gets credit for. He's got decent size. He's got decent strength. I think he could be a better defender than he's been at this point. And you need the shooting. You need the spacing. So don't give Wes Unseld Jr. a reason to not play you. And when he doesn't play him, it's because he didn't contribute enough defensively. So I know you see Jordan Poole not guarding anybody and things like that, but you can't be that kind of guy and be productive in the league if you're Corey Kispert.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, you got to realize you're the guy who went from a starter to a 6th man.
Yep.
You have to understand, hey, you're not now can't be compared to the starting lineup guys. You can't compare yourself to those guys now. Now you have, even though you were on that level to where you can say, oh, you know, the starting position is a more comfortable position, believe it or not. But when you're not that guy anymore, now you have to be the hunger guy again. You have to be the desperation guy again, right? And so don't lose that part and just go out there. I like a lot of things he offers the team. Like, I think he's still a solid offensive player.
Agreed.
Right? He fast, a streaker type of player, you know. But since now you're not in the starting lineup, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
They're not going to care about that as much as they used to. But you just like, if you lighten the scoreboard up, you can now going to have to be a two-way player, right? So last year he didn't get pulled from not playing defense like that. Exactly. So don't get lost in the sauce and become too full of yourself at this moment, because now you're fighting back. Like, understand this is the fight now.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to put up so much volume at such a high clip to contribute enough if you're a one-way player like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's a tough ask. And he's not, again, a selfish shot hunting kind of guy typically. So yeah, you got to find other ways to contribute here. The next one I got, Kyle Kuzma. I've been a longtime Kuzma defender and been my favorite player to watch the last couple of seasons at this point. But the last couple games have been rough. I know he's been dealing with an injury, but we've seen him, like, my resolution for him would be Kuzma, the facilitator, scorer blend, is much more effective and productive than Kuzma, the gunner. And I think the shots have really kind of cratered efficiency-wise here recently, and shot selection-wise have been rough. But just, again, another way to find, like, when he's the do-it-all type for this team, they're so much better. When he contributes on the boards, when he contributes defensively, like, that's the best way for him to impact this team. Score 20 a game and do these other things. We don't need you to be a 27 per game guy. Help everyone else get better, because he's one of the few guys I think that can do that.
At the beginning of the season, we were saying Jordan Poole needs to look like Kuzma more, look more how Kuzma is playing the game.
Yeah.
Now, things are in it. Kuzma has to now protect his value. And it's tough. He's in a tough situation. He has to protect his value, right? And the more he's protecting his value, the more he's having distrust in other players, which it just, sometimes it goes like that. So with Kuzma, it's a tough deal. But like you said, when he doesn't bring all those pieces to the game, kind of sometimes look wild too.
Yeah.
And that's not good either.
No,
but so right now, I just feel like he's just pressing. And I understand it, because no position on this team is like solid right now. You know, everybody can go with this one.
Yeah,
so
for sure,
he's just in a tough situation, and it doesn't always look the best, right? Hopefully, if he doesn't stick around, he can find somewhere to where he can be a comfortable all-around player, right? But just remind people that you are that. Just remind people right now that you are that. You know, he's just trying to keep his value right now.
I think that's really the best way to protect your value if you're Kuzma, though, because any team that's going to bring you in, probably a contending team, and they don't want you to come in and be a number one offensive guy. They want you to come in and say, can you have 15 points a game, eight assists, 8 rebounds, play some defense, and plug in like a bunch of holes, you know, for we lost this guy to injury or whatever the case may be. I know it's harder to see that when you're him. Like, I got to keep my numbers up if I want to end up somewhere. But
because that's not how negotiations work.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to look at your points per game first, and then
I got to make sure I have some ammunition for my agent to go in there when he go back to the table.
he's got a long-term deal at this point, though, right? He's got 4 more years after this year, I think. So, or 3 more years
Yeah,
after this year.
but things can't drop.
Yeah.
Look, Kuzma averaging what, over 20 points a game? 22,
yeah, I think
23?
something like that.
He's down to like averaging 17.
Yeah, the last couple games especially have not helped that with just kind of the
around that, give or take.
the
But
recent
yeah,
struggle controls.
so when your average is down, that's tough on you as a player, just personally, business wise, because in the end of the day, the main thing you're trying to do is make sure you keep your numbers consistent or higher, never lower.
He is 22.5 for the season, but over the last 3 games, he's put up 14, 17, and 7. That's not where you want him to be, for sure.
Right.
And again, we mentioned it. There is an injury there. I think that's got something to do with it, but also maybe make a business decision here. Save, the team should save him from himself, or vice versa. But if you're hurt and you're not playing well and you're not playing effectively, and it's actually negatively contributing to the team, do we really need to run him out there? And if you do want to trade him, it hurts his value. What's that?
Does he want to be traded?
That's the question, right? Does this help your value, though?
You want to be traded,
yeah. He seems to like it here. I don't know. I don't think he's the guy that's in a hurry to get traded, but
I wouldn't be if I was him. But
yeah.
This season, last season, that could be tough. That takes out a lot on a player.
There's a lot of losing, and so okay, this is actually a good segue here, because another thing people are a little up in arms about. He tweeted that at this point, it's like, don't be that team, in reference to the Pistons. And what he's saying is nobody wants to be the team to end the Pistons losing streak. Like, you don't want to be the Celtics and blow a game against Detroit and be the one on SportsCenter the next day, having like finally given up a win to this team that can't beat anybody. And people are mad about it. I don't like the tweet personally. I'm not up in arms about it, but to me, this is like, we're realistic. Like, our team isn't very good, but look, every player in the league thinks what he just tweeted. Nobody wants to be the team to go out and lose the game to a team that, like the Pistons, that nobody else can beat. I know the Wizards aren't really any better, but they're not to the same level, and it wouldn't get the same attention if you lose to the Wizards as it would the Pistons. That's just the nature of being on a historic losing streak like that. I'm just not that worried about it, but also don't want these guys to be comfortable losing. So what's the sweet spot here of like, okay, we got to be realistic. We're not going to win a lot of games this year, but also maybe don't make jokes about it either. I don't know.
That was a silly tweet. In the end of the day, that was a silly tweet. I think he meant it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think he meant it in, pretty much trying to say, hey, we're not doing good this year, guys. Right? And he tried to use Detroit as a
right, could be worse.
measuring stick or like the bar. And it just was bad. Yeah. It was just, he didn't think it out. Yeah. I think he just should have not tweeted anything at all.
I agree.
But definitely not use Detroit in that way, because in the end of the day, we all at the bottom right now. and it's more reflect, especially as a leader, that's more reflection on you than anything.
Right. It's the wrong guy for that to come from at
it's
the wrong time.
Guy.
Yeah. I agree. I said I didn't think it's a bad tweet. But I also don't think he's wrong. I don't think any team in the league right now wants to be the team to shit the bed against Detroit. Like, so I'm not mad at it, but also I would prefer he didn't do it.
But how do your teammates see that? Like, okay, well, but that just shows you exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the segment, right? Of this is they don't have a guy like that. That's what you hear right there. That's the top of the the barometer, the top of the chain. That's the highest guy in the pecking order of this team. And that's what he says.
He's too casual about it. Like I've been the
But
biggest promoter of the stuff he does off the court to help the young guys, mentor them, big brother stuff. But he's not the MFer we talked about. Like it's very
yeah.
clear that he's just like casual Kuz, and
Now if
that's
you say
fine. But
we might as well be Detroit the way we playing.
yeah, exactly. You don't want that. It's just
Now I'd rather hear you say that.
right.
You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather
Or
the comparison like if Detroit terrible, we're terrible.
yeah, we're not much better than that. You'd rather
Right.
be the other thing, right? Like nobody wants to lose to us either because we've been shit. Well, hopefully we'll be
I'd
better.
rather you
Like,
say that.
yeah, I'm with you.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't think he was wrong. I just
That's
just
like the blame game. Well, you did
leave
this.
that one
Well, at
in
least I'm not that person.
right. Leave that one in the drafts. That's all.
Yeah.
You can think it. You can say it to your buddies. Maybe not tweet it for the whole world.
Yeah, don't say it at all.
Uh, okay. Just last couple. We'll rapid fire through these. Resolutions for Ryan Rollins. Just bust these guys' asses in practice. Earn the minutes. Don't give Wes an opportunity to not play you. Play hard as shit and your teammates every day, and maybe they don't have an excuse to leave you on the bench anymore.
Don't give him an option.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
give
that's
him
great.
an option.
DeLon Wright. What do you got for DeLon Wright? Anything coming off the injury here? Anything you'd like to see from him specifically?
Let that situation you're going through now, that injury, fuel you. Everything has to be fuel. Right? Understand that don't be comfortable with your name. Don't be comfortable with what you've done so far. Right now, it could be the crossroads for you. Understand that. So, make sure you don't take the wrong road.
Yeah. Also, my resolution for you guys in the chat, if you don't mind hitting that little like button for us, if you're following along on YouTube, we'd really appreciate that. If you're not already subscribing, please do that for us too. We love that kind of stuff. You need to throw that in at least once today. And last two I got for you. What's your resolution for Wes Unseld Jr.? What would you like to see from Wes in 2024?
Know what you bring as a coach. And and be confident what you bring as a coach, but also know what you didn't bring. Right? And say, okay, how can I be better at that? Certain people are just certain type of people. Understand, okay, I'm a certain type of person. So, how can I choose a different way to be a motivator? Yeah. T. Lou ain't he's not an asshole, but he is a truth teller. And he gets what he gets out just off of in a different way. He ain't crazy, but he's a truth teller, right? So just find different ways to start to get to results.
I like that.
Because your shit. Yep. That's no one questions that you don't know your shit.
You said something a couple episodes ago that I thought was like amazing about Wes Unseld Jr. and just like the equivalent of you've got the right message. It might just be better coming out of somebody else's mouth. And I think that was kind of what I see from him. He's not getting it through to people. He talked about it's not an issue of buy-in. I don't believe that. It doesn't seem like we all hear what you just said, that this guy is a wealth of information. It doesn't seem like it's being effectively communicated to his teammates. So got to find some way to reach people if you're not. Right. You need some way to get through to these people. I don't know what that is. Try something different. What you're doing is not working.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution for the front office, just go get one young big man prospect. Just one. Just find them somewhere. They exist. Somebody's G League team. They went out and got Jake Stevens, a rookie undrafted player from the Stockton Kings. That's fine. Not high enough caliber, in my opinion, to be a needle mover. Just somebody like the Daniel Gafford trade a couple years ago, like somebody that has some upside that's maybe untapped, whether it's the James Wisemans or the Marvin Bagleys. I'm not saying those two guys specifically, but just somebody young for us to be excited about that you can give developmental minutes to, that it's not, Muscala and Gallinari playing these backup 5 minutes the whole time.
Yeah, go get a guaranteed backup five that can move the floor, that can run.
Yeah.
If we got to
Yeah.
teach him everything else, cool. As long as he can run and rebound,
Yeah. An
right?
athlete, something. Yeah.
Run, rebound, and protect the basket, right? Don't
Yeah.
understand every individual's expertise that's in the organization
Mm-hmm.
and let them do what they do well,
I like
right?
that.
Right. If that's because that's why we got this. If we gonna get this Justice League, well,
Super friends of
right?
front
Don't
office.
let
Yeah.
Wonder Woman start doing what Batman do. You know what I'm saying? Don't let Superman be the Hulk. Understand what the Hulk does and don't get in each other's way. And because this could be a difference maker because I never seen a team go get a Justice League like this. So if you got everybody for their individual things they do well, make sure that's what they do and let them do it, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a great.
we could see the results, right?
So this is actually a really good segue into something I meant to ask you about, and I didn't have on our rundown here. I was listening to Ed Tapscott, former interim head coach of the Wizards, longtime scout and exec for the Minnesota Timberwolves, talk about how. I know, I'm just for listeners here, for anybody not familiar with his background, this is a guy that knows his shit and has been around a long time. Ed was talking about how certain teams in the league, well, a lot of teams in the league have what they call like the sleepers position on their scouting department. The guy looking for, the diamonds in the rough type. Ed is that guy for Minnesota. And a lot of times in these organizations, it's the 23-year-old kid recently out of college that like they're sending on the road to places nobody wants to go to. Somewhere like Memphis, they use Tayshaun Prince in that role. As these are the guys that are finding the guys like Santi Aldama from Loyola, Maryland, and things like that are now contributors. To your point, I don't know who that guy is best suited to find off the beaten path talent for the Wizards, but I would love for that guy to be emphasized and focusing in that role. So I don't know enough about the reshaped scouting department here. I don't think that was the case for the Wizards for this last regime where they had a veteran person looking for those types of players. And that's why we saw a lot of taking the number one guy on the ESPN 100 board with our draft pick. Let's go out and find some dudes. Maybe Tristan Vukcevic is a sign that we're doing that kind of thing a little bit more now. But I want them to focus on that. Any insight there in Jahadi into like scouting and how that kind of stuff works?
I mean, that's pretty much how it is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're on the road all the time. You're going all over the world, all over the country, looking for that player that somebody hasn't put their eye on yet.
Right.
And you have to have so many unique resources and networks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a pipeline of networks all over. It's almost like telephone, like cell towers. And you got to tap into the right thing. So you're going to have somebody who really understands that underground level of basketball.
Yeah. It sounds like Will Dawkins was that guy in Oklahoma City. He was the senior director of basketball innovative scouting or some crazy title like that. But can you still be that guy and be the GM of the team? Like, can you be the main guy finding those diamonds in the rough if you're the main guy?
You can, but you can because it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, for you to be that guy, it has to be natural to you to where it's a natural instinct.
You just got the eye for it, right?
You just got to have the eye for it and you're going to do it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something you do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but so you have to be that guy first and then you can become a GM. You can't become a GM and then figure out how to be that guy. Yeah, that guy right there was born to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's to your point about you got the super friends here, whatever they are, like maybe they can pick up some slack to still allow you to do those types of things that you're really good at. And that's your forte. So that'd be good. Last thing just for everybody here, I'd like to end on a positive note, something here. The NBA has named Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma. It's NBA Cares Bob Lanier Community Assist Award winner for the month of November. He gave gifts and clothing to mothers at the Genesee County jail in Flint, Michigan, his hometown. and announced that his foundation's new partnership would support incarcerated mothers in their transitions out of prison. He did a bunch of stuff here locally with the team. Just want to give him a shout out for that, because I think those are cool things to do and that they sometimes go unrecognized. So shout out to him, shout out to the foundation. We love that stuff.
Big recognition for that. That's big.
And hey, if the Wizards are in the news for that kind of stuff too in a bad year, I'm cool with that. Like, at least find a way to make your mark on the league and community and all that other kind of stuff in a positive way if you can't win a ton of games on the court right now.
Right. I agree.
All right. I think that's all I got for you here, partner. Any parting shots or notes you want to leave people with here as we move into 2024?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Just stay in DC.
Yes. Okay. Let's save that one for next time, because
we'll say that for next, but stay in DC, please.
Yeah. I got a ton of questions for you about that one. We'll hit that. This is the tease for everybody to listen to the next episode, because I think one of the things the Wizards have said is, this will help them attract more free agents. So we'll get Jahadi's perspective on that on the next episode. For everybody, thanks for rocking with us in 2023. I think we got a big 2024 coming up for you. Got some cool stuff in the works. So stick with us. Stay tuned. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch y'all next time. Unpresented by betonline.ag. Can't forget that. Got to get paid. All right. See y'all.